All right, jumping right into the episode, and we're gonna start off with the Giants, because similar to the Mets, pretty high expectations for the season. Just signed Daniel Jones to a big deal. You didn't sign Saquon to a big deal, but you gave him a couple $1 million. Just no big deal, just $12 million. But Saquon's been hurt. Daniel Jones isn't the same guy he was last year. Everything's kind of gone to shreds, and what happened last night didn't help. What I will say about last night is that I'm proud of the way that they fought and that they made it a close game. 14-9 against the Bills is a pretty solid game. The Bills are probably a top 4 or 5 team in the NFL, maybe 6 or 7, but still. And for the Giants to hang with them like that, I would say that's a pretty big success. And also, that should have been a pass interference on that last throw to Darren Waller. I did not know what the refs were talking about, quite honestly. Um, but it is what it is. The game's over. No one expected the Giants to win. They didn't win. And but what I will say, losing against the Niners, the Bills, and the Dolphins, I'm okay with those 3 losses. I think that they should have put up a better fight against Dallas. I don't think they're like a crazy good team or anything. And they won against the Cardinals. So there's only really one game that I think that they definitely should have won. But they didn't win that game, and there's nothing we can do about it anymore. So I mentioned Saquon getting hurt earlier. I want to talk about that for a second. So Saquon got hurt week 2 against the Cardinals. He's been practicing for the past 2 weeks. So the week leading up to the Niner game and the week leading up to the week leading up to the Dolphins and the Bills games. So it was the Niners and the Dolphins game that he was practicing. So I don't know why they hadn't played him at least against the Dolphins. And even if you didn't, why would you play him against the Bills, who are arguably the same level of talent as a team? Like, if he's been practicing, he should be ready to go. And if you're sitting him because you're playing too talented of a team, why not just save him for the Commanders? But I think that he wants to play, but at the same time, he was waiting for Andrew Thomas to come back from the hamstring injury. But after practicing for 2 weeks, you really kind of have to come back, especially if he's still in this situation where he wants more money. And he only got a 1-year, $12 million deal. So it's not like he's satisfied and he got that long-term contract he wanted. So he's still got to go out and prove that he's that guy and he's someone who deserves big-time money, and when other running backs are not getting paid that. And then I want to talk about Daniel Jones after that, because I don't think he's been helping Saquon's success either. The biggest thing that I've noticed is that he hasn't been running the ball as much. Not scrambling, not enough design QB runs. And I don't know if that's Daboll or Jones. Well, I know Daboll is the one calling the plays, and so he would be the design runs. But Jones hasn't scrambled at all, I feel like. And last year, they call him Vanilla Vic, and for nothing, he doesn't even run. Um, but last year, I thought there was a good balance between him running and him sitting back in the pocket and throwing the ball. This year, he's been trying to sit back in the pocket and throw it, but he's been sacked so many times. 30 times overall, not even counting last night's game against the Bills, which he didn't play. So Daniel Jones has been sacked 30 times. I don't know exactly how many Tyrod Taylor's been sacked. And I think a big part of it is because he doesn't have a number one option. He's talked about getting Darren Waller more involved, but he's a tight end. He's not going to go out and get 300 receiving yards every game. Jalen Hyatt's still a rookie. He's not a number one option yet. He'll develop into that, I hope. And in the game against Arizona when they come back, I did think that they were getting high at the ball and they were getting Waller the ball. And that's a good thing because you saw what happened there. And they ended up winning that game. And another kind of bright spot for this team is their defense. Kayvon Thibodeau has taken a leap, and also Bobby Okereke has been playing well. Okereke had the pick 6 against the Dolphins. Or no, that was Jason Pinnock with 102 yards. Took it to the house. And their defense has really been the only good part about this team, and it hasn't even been crazy good. So I don't care that I care, but I don't blame them for losing to the Bills last night. But their season's pretty cooked now. They have to win outright, basically, to have a playoff spot. No, they can lose probably 2 or 3 more games, but they would have to go on a miracle of a tear, and I don't think that's gonna happen. All right, jumping to some of the other NFL headlines and mostly injuries that I want to talk about. Justin Jefferson, he's on the IR. He has a hamstring injury, so he's out for 5 weeks. I think that's going to be big for not only the Vikings, but big for Jordan Addison, the rookie wideout. He's going to be featured a lot more with their number one guy going down. And if they don't have that connection like Cousins and Jefferson has, I think the Jets might go out and trade for Kirk Cousins. I've heard rumors about that happening, but I don't know unless the Vikings fall down and Kirk Cousins wants to go somewhere he could win. He already said he's probably not going to waive his no trade clause, but if they're like 2-7, I would just waive it, and well, he wouldn't even be able to be traded at that point. But if they lose their next 2 games, I would waive it and go somewhere where you have a shot at winning, because this Jets defense has proved that they're capable of beating anyone. We just saw it with Jalen Hurts yesterday. They knocked off the undefeated Eagles. 2 picks, one by the big man Quinnen Williams and the other one by the linebacker Bryce Hall. So overall, I don't think that the Jets should go out and trade for Kirk Cousins. Especially because Aaron Rodgers is already out of the boot after 34 days since tearing his Achilles. He's already walking and he was throwing the football around yesterday. So I think that's good for the Jets, and it's going to help them because he'll probably be able to come back for the playoffs if they make it there. So moving on to the next injury. Rookie running back Devon Achane, rookie sensation for the Miami Dolphins. He's on the IR with a knee injury. This is not even going to be that big of a blow for the Dolphins. They have Raheem Mostert, who already has 11 touchdowns on the year. They have Tyreek Hill. They have Jalen Waddle. They are loaded. And if Tua can stay healthy like he has and he keeps slinging the rock, I think they're going to be solid and for the 5 weeks that he's out. All right. This is more of a question. Are the Bengals back? Yes, they are. They got the win last Sunday against the Cardinals, and then yesterday against the Seahawks, they won out and they got a W. 17-13 against the Seattle Seahawks, who are a respectable team in the NFL. I think that the Cardinals game, the Cardinals are not that good of a team, but it was more of a get-right game for them. And now they're starting to add on to it, and Joe Burrow seems to be more healthy again. Jamar Chase has already expressed that he wants the ball more, and I think they're back and they can make a run at the Super Bowl again. All right, jumping into some Knicks preseason talk and the open practice that they had yesterday that I was very fortunate to attend. So the Knicks' first preseason game was against the Celtics. They ended up taking the dub and opening their preseason with a win. Who wouldn't like that? I don't really care that much. The Celtics didn't play their guys. The Knicks played their guys for like the first quarter. It's not that big of a deal. It's more getting used to your new teammates for someone like Dante DiVincenzo. And it's also for these practice squad and G League two-way guys to prove themselves and see if they could get playing time for the Knicks. And Tibbs doesn't like to just give away playing time, so you're really going to have to prove yourself. So it was a very sloppy game against the Celtics. Same thing against the Timberwolves. I'm not worried about that. These guys are trying to get their legs back under them, trying to form chemistry. And someone who I think is going to have good chemistry with the Knicks' second unit, Dante DiVincenzo. He's a shot maker. He's a facilitator. He's another Swiss Army knife for the second team. He's not a crazy energy guy like Josh Hart is, but he'll lock up on defense. He'll give you 110% effort, and much like Immanuel Quickley, he'll knock down that three ball anytime you need it. And it's not like if Quickley's high, he's gonna be like, "Oh, let me take a three, so I can pad my stats." Oh, he'll swing the rock to Quick. He'll let Quick take his shots. So that's gonna be big for the Knicks. I think more Nova Knicks, the better. They know how to play ball, so that's gonna be huge. All right, I told you I didn't want to talk about the Knicks too much in this episode. So moving into some postseason baseball, the championship series are underway, but I really just want to recap the division series. I'll make another episode whenever they end. The championship series ends as a World Series preview and stuff like that. But talking about the division series with the sweep of the Orioles, the AL East did not win a single game in the postseason. I just want to revisit that conversation that people were having at the start of the season. Is the NL East or the AL East a better division? The Braves sucked in the playoffs. The Marlins sucked. They didn't belong to be there. Deserve to be there. But the Phillies, Red October, getting hot again in October. And they're going to the championship series now, and they're going to play a young Diamondback team that I don't think is going to be able to make a run at it, or get to the World Series. Sorry. But the Orioles, they're going to be good for years to come. And Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Grayson Rodriguez. This was the first time the Orioles got swept since Adley Rutschman came up. Think about that for a second. The first time. That's more than a full season that they haven't been swept. That's pretty good. And now another young team that's looking to get to the World Series, the Texas Rangers. Adolis Garcia, Marcus Semien, Corey Seager. I know he's hurt, but Jacob deGrom. They're loaded. They got the medium, not veteran, but not young guys, mixed with the likes of Josh Jung, Jonah Heim, and what's the left fielder's name that made a nice catch last night? Oh, I don't remember his name, but he's a young rookie. So I think the AL is going to be a really good conference or league for years to come, and it's been shifting because you see teams like the Orioles, they haven't been good for a while. The Rangers, they had Joey Gallo, but they were never a top tier team. And the Astros, they're always going to be good. The Yankees, they'll go out and buy players to stay competitive. Who knows what's going to happen with the Angels? Maybe they could keep Shohei and Mike Trout. Who knows? I don't think either of them. Well, I think Trout's going to stay. I doubt Shohei stays. So the AL is going to be good, and so is the NL. You see teams like the Braves. You see teams like the Marlins, another young team. The Dodgers are always good. Who knows what's going to happen with the Mets? Is Steve Cohen going to go out and buy a bunch of talent again? Is he going to maybe lay off of that a little bit this year? But the baseball is going to be good for a long time, and that's a good thing. All right, moving over to the NL side of the bracket, where the Dodgers swept by the Diamondbacks. What? Who thought that was going to happen? I'm sure Clayton Kershaw didn't. He gave up, what was it, 6 runs in the first inning of the opening game of that series? It's a lot of runs for one inning. But the Diamondbacks are a young, scrappy team with Corbin Carroll, Elias Diaz, not Christian Walker. What's their catcher's name? I'm blanking on it. But they're good, and the Dodgers, everybody thought they were going to do so well. 104 wins this year. But it ended up not happening. So that's that. And same thing with the Braves. Between those two teams, there were 204 wins in a 162 game season, which is really 360, no, less than that. Wait. 324 games. So out of 324 games that those two teams played, 204 of them were wins. And that's a big number. So moving on to my predictions for the championship series and who is going to get to the World Series. Starting on the AL side of the bracket, drumroll please, the Houston Astros. They just seem like a more experienced team. They have guys like Altuve. They have guys like Bregman. They have Verlander back. They have Kyle Tucker. These guys have been there before. They're in their 7th straight ALCS. And I don't think they lose to a young Rangers team. And they're not even that young. Marcus Semion's never been here. Corey Seager was there in 2021. DeGrom's never won anything. So he can't even mentor them. Scherzer won the World Series in 2019. But other than that, he hasn't been to the postseason much. Adolis Garcia's never won anything. I just can't see these guys winning, or at least going to, a World Series. And on the NL side of the bracket, the Phillies versus the Diamondbacks. The Phillies. And pretty much the same reasoning. The Diamondbacks aren't like a crazy good team. Yes, they have Corbin Carroll, who led the league in triples. Yes, they have Elias Diaz, the All-Star Game MVP. But like the pieces around them, what's his name? Carson Kelly. I think their pitcher, he's been good, but I don't think he's a World Series caliber ace. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm your host, Ben Ballion, and this has been the Sports Pod.